All right, so with our handsome Teddy, I'm just gonna grab some of the Paws Up bowls. I meant to grab them and then I forgot them over on the chair. Ready? So I was just gonna have him start off with working a bit with his place position. So ready, we're gonna go to our bed. Nice. We'll try and work a little bit. I know he was working a little bit with stay earlier, but I wanna see if we can rock it with going to our target spot. So remember when first starting off on working a place or a bed or some sort of target spot for the pups, I would highly recommend that we start practicing in situations where it's going to be set up for success. So if you're waiting for grandma to come visit or a moment where you're sitting down to dinner to try to work with your puppy going and settling, that could be really hard. You may find, I know you guys had mentioned that sometimes you give him like a chew toy, like a raw bone or something that you guys find appropriate for him, and then he's working on chewing on that thing on his dog bed or spot while other things might be ensuing in the home. So getting your puppy to view going to a target spot as being fun, safe, and then a bringer of something good is a really great starting point. So right here, I'm gonna maybe go ahead, I'm gonna see if I can start to work a little bit with movement around him slightly. If that becomes too challenging, I'm gonna make the criteria again get a little lower so it's successful from his end too. So I'm gonna tell him to stay. And then I'm gonna maybe add a little bit of wiggles. He was just running around earlier with one of his favorite toys, and we were working a few other skills, and he was doing a really nice job. So right here, we're gonna maybe implement a little bit of distractions. I'm gonna just move a few things around. Nice. Yes. Such a handsome boy. So the babes have been doing a really nice job together too for their first day all together. I know the other three already know each other, like Teddy, Bodie, and Miss Winnie. But then our new friend, Mr. Leon, he's the new friend joining the group, and he's been doing a pretty good job with the wilds. Yes. So right now, again, we're just adding in some more of this generalization of me moving and touching items and making some sounds. Don't have to equal, you have to follow me out of that position. So we're, again, trying to create value in being stuck. And I might jackpot him. And again, those little Bill Jack treats, I break those up into another 3 little tidbits for training. I always think about your food reinforcement as a kind of paycheck for the hard efforts or work they're performing. You do want to make sure, like I always recommend, is if I only had $1 and I gave you that as an exchange, there was only one option for one interaction, where if I had 100 pennies again, I would then have 100 moments to have those interactions and reinforce things. So the smaller the snacks, the more reps you could perform. And also, you're not going to be going through as much food. So I know Bodie's family did a really nice job chopping up the tidbits into nice little itty bitty morsels. I am not saying you have to go and chop up snacks. Most of the snacks that folks have brought, I can easily break them as needed because they're soft. But sometimes if the treats are hard or crunchy, it's really difficult to break them. So then your pup may be eating more than they needed because I have to be able to give as many reps as needed for the behavior to be well rehearsed and feel like there's a nice big paycheck or bank account with a nice deposit to it. So if we think about behavior or skill sets as having bank accounts, if we're very stingy on deposits, your babe may find recall practice to be really dumb, but frolicking and chasing a bunny to be much more reinforcing. So remember that you're building behavior for down the road and creating value in the stuff that most dogs find really dumb. So no dog finds this to be very appealing. Let's say going to a spot and staying still and not being part of everything that's going on. So getting your puppy chew is still being worked on, chewing. But getting your puppy to feel comfortable taking a pause and not being intimate and holding still and then creating value in that, that's what can help you for down the road as he becomes more of a teenager. Because right now he's still a baby. So I'm going to end this gorgeous stay for him because he's doing such a nice job. I'm going to give him one of his little tidbits. I'm going to now tell him all done, and then we'll see if we can get him up and wiggling. What a smart boy. That was so nice. So I do not feed for the leaving of the stay, and I do not call them to me. So maybe what we'll try is a little bit, you want to try the paws up? Ready? Such a brilliant boy. Oh, he says he fell off. That's okay. Good job. So let's say, for example, I wasn't able to get Mr. B to do some pivoting, but maybe Mr. T would like to. So what you can do is you try to bring the food closer to their shoulder and see if they can pivot one way or the other. So you're just looking for the back end. He's like, my brain has melted, to take one little side step from left or right. So we're just going to see if he does. I just see his tail moving. So we're right there. Yes. So what you're trying to do is get your babe to pivot ever so slightly. Yes, their hindquarters. Oh my gosh, chewing. You got it. Cough it up. Is it good? Poor baby. So we'll try again. Oh, good job with your he's getting so big. I have to get bigger bowls for this big boy. He says, guys, they don't fit anymore. You're doing a good job with your paws up though. So the benefit of getting a puppy to realize that he has a front or a hind end is that you can avoid injuries down the road, but this can also be really helpful for other behaviors down the road too. Yeah, so smart. Ready? Yes. So again, right now, I know I'm sort of moving into him versus him moving around me. So, but sometimes it's just even just trying something new and see if they catch on. Later, it can be the opposite. So a lot of times, if this is something very new to him, he had to go grab water. You may just capture any glimmer, so like a beginning stage of something versus waiting it to become like a perfect pivoting behavior. So ready? Teddy, come. Nice job. Oh my goodness, so tired. You're being so smart. It's important to stay hydrated. I know. So too, it's also like their snacks are almost like popcorn and they have to have their drink at the movie theater. Are you getting exhausted? Maybe we'll try just a little bit more with our paws up. Like a drunken sailor. Yes, nice job. That's saliva. So maybe we'll try a little bit with maybe pivoting this way. Nice. Yes. Beautiful. Ready? He's like a big moose. Yes, nice. So any foot movement in the back end, stepping over is what we're looking for. So if it wasn't the prettiest thing you've ever done, don't worry. Ready? Bed. It just has to start somewhere where you can start to build on the big boy skills. So ready? We'll do it down. Nice job. So much saliva. You're so slimy. He says he cannot contain his happiness, so it comes out in slime. So right here, maybe we'll rock one more lovely little stay situation. So I'm going to tell him to stay, and then I might add a little bit of movement. So if this becomes too challenging, I'm not going to add this level of difficulty. I just want to see if he can manage to stay put while I'm adding in some movement of the equipment on the wall. Yes, he's also working up a pant because it's so hard being him working these big boy skills. Also too, when practicing, I would recommend to look to see what does your dog or puppy look like while you're rehearsing skills. So if they are looking uncomfortable, trying to dart or move away from the situation, are showing disconnect, like they're shutting down, not taking food, they're pacing or, for example, whining, these would be things where maybe your babe is trying to tell you from the only way they can by not paying attention or by not performing, that they're just not either understanding or feeling comfortable. So whenever you're watching training online or you're watching other content, there's a lot of flashy training out there, but sadly it's not always with the welfare of the dog in front of you at the foremost of the importance. So when looking to videos with other pups or even videos like with me and your babies, you want to make sure that you're seeing a dog that is feeling safe and comfortable. So there could be moments at times where I have worked with very shy or sensitive dogs or puppies during the day school, and I never push them past their comfort range or abilities. If, for example, I'm just forcing dogs to do things, you're not going to have a better relationship, and especially not one built on trust or mutual like feelings of safety. So you want to see dogs that look like they're having a great time doing the session. It's very pretty. Nice. Because if there's a tool that's making your dog do something, then does your dog really know how to do it without it? So a lot of times with some of these tools that do cause harm or discomfort or lack of oxygen or pain, is that those tools are not working by teaching your dog what to do and learn that skill. They're just teaching them that whenever they make a mistake from our perspective, it may then hurt or feel uncomfortable or be scary. And then what they're hoping to avoid is the correction again. So in later, for example, you may find that the only time the dog does perform is when those things are left on. So for my guys and for my students, they're learning how to do the skill where it becomes a habit or a skill that they can work down the road. And because it's been so beneficial and safe feeling for the pup, they're very reliable in those behaviors. There's no threat saying, if you don't do this, this will happen. Nice. So I'm not then stuck on needing a tool, because using food is only a way to reinforce the skill. And that's right. If he's getting a little tired, I'm blabbing a little bit longer than usual. Ready? So we might do a couple little find its and I'll bring him back to his bed in a second. Ready? Teddy, find it. So food is, again, reinforcing skills. So you're creating a history around those behaviors. So, and eventually food become intermittent, or something that would be, for example, used on and off. But it's not, for example, a training style. It's a way to reinforce behavior and have the learner learn. So, and of course, he's going in the closet because that's where all the toys are. Daddy, come. Yes, what a good boy. He's like, hold on, I only have one speed. You're coming slowly. Good job. Look at you. Smart man. But I know he's doing stellar. So I would just make sure sometimes there can be appeal to using a tool that instantly stops your dog from doing something. But I always ask myself, or I have the students ask themselves, is that something that you would also apply to yourself to stop doing something? Or would you rather have your teacher show you how to work the skill in the first place? So even though, for example, a prong collar, which is a pinch or a prong that has little spikes, even though those may, for example, stop the pulling, did it actually teach the dog how not to pull, or is the dog now trying to avoid the pain associated with the collar? So I would highly recommend is work the how-to skills, teach them how not to pull by teaching them where to be instead. And then you wouldn't need to escalate in tools that probably would have to be used for the rest of the dog's life. So starting off with things that are benign are much more beneficial, because it doesn't put you at a place to think that the tool is the reason behind the skill, but instead now, because he knows how to do the thing, that is why he's being successful. Oh, those itches. So awkward. He can almost barely itch his armpit, but he's trying. So, but for Mr. T, I would just keep rocking and rolling things. If, again, loose leash walking is not going well, it's more than likely he's overtired. He's maybe having a growth spurt. He's potentially also overly stimulated in that setup. So stick to softer venues. Ready? Find it. Because remember, he's still working on the how-to. And if we instantly throw him out onto an environment that's too hard, view it like, again, ourselves. Let's say you didn't know how to drive and I throw you in like a Formula One race car, we're not going to be okay. But if instead we started off on the Honda Civic, like let's say in a parking lot with a brake on also the driver's instructor sort of zone, we're probably going to make it. So for your puppy, is none of these skills come natural to them. Being attached to some weird alien creature that tells you what to do in a completely different language is not normal. So he's just been plucked from Dogville and now he lives in Humanville, and it's rather confusing. So we definitely want to help him be successful versus getting mad for when he's failing. And again, I'm not saying that's what you guys are doing, but this is where a lot of folks may not always realize that what they're trying to do may be confusing the puppy further. So, but Mr. T is doing a really nice job. Oh no, it fell right in the crack. That'll keep him busy for a few extra minutes. But we'll give him a little breather and then we'll go rotate through some more friends again. But he's doing stellar.